Welcome to the June 13th Village of Alexandria Board meeting. First, I'd like to introduce to the community, the village, Mr. Richard Campany is our new appointed board member. Bravo. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hope you feel the same in 6 months.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Caputo. Trustee Campany.
Here.
Trustee Demo. Here. Trustee Fuller. Here. Mayor Jarvis.
Here. Public concerns. Yes.
It's come to my attention.
One second. Please introduce yourself, sir.
Oh, Sam Bakianis. I reside at 9 Rockwell Street. And I'm sorry I had to come from work, so otherwise I would be disrespectful of my full name. However, I do have an issue that I'd like to point out. I understand that we no longer have a daycare center. I understand that that is not going to be a daycare center. Did anybody validate that for me?
First I've heard of that.
Yeah, we just heard today, I don't know.
I've heard it's not going to be at the present time. The permit is good for 1 year, and they have 1 year to start the work there. If they decide not to, they have to go back to day one and start the process all over again.
So
They do not have to notify us of their intentions.
Well, I was told they're gonna put, more than one house there, and I know that there are a lot more regulations. It needs to go back to public concern and a hearing, and it has to be, I'd like to see the land go back to residential if they're not gonna build a project that they were permitted for. That's all I ask. And if this is a statement that they have a year, but they are not permitted to build outside of that permit.
That parcel is over a 2 acre parcel there. They have several feet of frontage. I do have a permit for a residence on Church Street that the owner had applied for, and there's I'm going to say there's other vacant land that they can build on Northern Avenue that would meet the setbacks. It's all one parcel, and we are permitted to have more than one dwelling on a parcel.
But it's not permitted for that.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not permitted for that, sir.
Sir.
It is a residential district, and residences are permitted in it.
Listen, it's been changed to commercial. The permit was issued by the planning board has reviewed the permit, and it was issued for a daycare. The zoning was changed. If anything is built over there, it has to go back to the permitting.
His project was for an educational facility, and that is permitted within that district.
I know, that was capricious in the first place.
The district does not change because of the daycare center going in. It is still a neighborhood residential, or general residential district.
The special use permit allowed them to do a commercial building. Is that what you're telling me?
The special use permit allowed them to do an educational structure, which does not change the district.
I know, but that was your arbitrary decision. That was no one else's. You decided that there was only 4 or 5 regulations under which you could build commercial in that, and you selected education when it's not really education, it's a business. But that's here nor there. I'm concerned with the future. That's all I want to know. If you're going to enforce it, I want to make sure that if they do decide to build houses there, that it has to go back to permitting, it has to be published in the paper, it has to have a public hearing.
No, it does not.
Well, I'm sorry, but you're wrong.
Well,
I will go see the
Well,
I think that the discussion as far as the private zoning can take place, this is a village board meeting, it's really not a question for.
But they enforce the law.
But as a practical matter, try to characterize what our zoning officer does as being arbitrary. I mean, I take offense to that because I defend the village if there are issues. And I can assure you, I've never had to defend any interpretation that our zoning officers made because they've been unimpeachable. So I take offense at that.
Well, I'm sorry to take offense to that. I read the entire form that was
Okay.
filled out, and it was not filled out properly. And the neighbors weren't notified. They always said they notify the neighbors. That wasn't done.
I understand you disagree with this issue in the village, but it still is not a topic for the village board meeting. It's not a topic for discussion with the zoning officer.
Well, he brought up the zoning. I didn't.
I thought you
So we're
raised the
done.
question.
So, well, yes or no?
If an application is submitted, we'll take a look at it and see what's required, and we'll follow the rules. But I really don't wanna make decisions and give answers out of thin air without seeing what's being applied for. But the rules will be followed as they always have been.
According to Dan McAloon, who I spoke to today, they have not revisited the building permit in terms of the planning board. So as far as the planning board is concerned, we are going down to daycare. That's what the permit was for, and that's what the seeker was, and everything else. If it changes from that, I just want to be sure that the public has input, period. That's all I'm asking.
The rules will be followed.
The rules we follow,
Okay.
yes.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Any other public concerns? Roger?
Evening, Roger, Ripensteiner, Dark Island Spirits. I notice on here you have a ready streetscape projects line item, and my conversation had to do with the docks, and I don't know, does that fall under that?
Yes.
Okay, when we get to that point, can we have any public participation / commentary at that point, or how do I do that? You know, because there's no use me ranting about something right now, if it's already resolved. Can I defer my time, or?
What is it you have a
Well,
question?
just about the, you know, the progress, and if progress is still up in the air, then are there contingency plans in place? And
We have emergency plans and we're gonna discuss that.
Okay, cool,
Yeah,
all right,
it,
perfect.
to cut to the chase, we have plan A, plan B, C, and
Right.
all the way to Z
Yeah,
to make sure there's a connection.
right.
But that's, we'll discuss that.
Yeah,
Greater, we'll discuss.
Roger, I was making an update on that.
Okay,
too,
yeah,
so
yeah, I just wanted
Get you
to.
up to speed.
Perfect.
We'll be real quick on that.
Okay, cool, thanks. Nothing else then.
Anybody else? Correspondence? So this message, email from Mr. Joe Recupero. And the message is, I would like to file an official noise complaint against the Reformed Church of Thousand Islands. After several weeks of lowered volume, the levels were raised yesterday. I do not dispute their free speech rights, but do object to the noise intrusion into our home. Both the hourly chimes and music selections disturb the peace of our home and neighborhood. The previous lowered levels were appropriate as they were low enough not to interfere on a daily routine. I'd like the village to address this matter and not just tell me to call a lawyer as you did several years ago when I complained. The village has a responsibility to all its citizens. It is inappropriate to just say churches are exempt from noise ordinances. Finally, we all should have the right to live peacefully, not be unduly and unnecessarily disturbed by any one person or group on a regular basis. The past few weeks of lowered volume were fine. It is now intrusive and inappropriate. Thank you, Joseph Recupero. I think that was it. Motion to approve the minutes from May 9th, 2023, regular meeting, special meeting on May 30th, 2023.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from May 9th, regular meeting and special meeting, May 30th, 2023.
I second it.
Gotta break them in.
Motion made by trustee Fulmer, second by trustee Campany. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Motion to pay the bills, abstract number 12 was presented.
I'll make a motion to pay abstract number 12 as presented.
I'll second it.
Motion by trustee Fulmer, second by trustee Demo. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Trustee reports. Jared, who gets it?
After 3 or 4 months now, so it's on the assembly line, it's been issued a VIN number. So that is on its way. We put the beach in today, and, the White Beam above, sent us a permit already today. I met
Oh,
with
we got
Bob
it.
tonight.
Wow.
So I have the permit in hand. All the bathrooms are up and running. We have the meters on. They're old. We put them in the back of the truck to put them on. So we have a couple that we need to go back and get, put back together. We tore out quite a few feet of sidewalk for Matt Doheny up on Rock Street. It's gonna look nice when he's done with it up there. He's gonna have a couple flower beds with the 2 entrance ways that go into, the side of it up there. The paving is all done. We got some more patching to do, and, I hate, brush is just an ongoing thing. It's a constant. I put letters on mattresses stating that it is $10 to take it to the dump. Please come to the village office. The next time I do again, I give them about a week's chance, and then I just put the mattress and move it to the back side of their house again, just so it's not out by the road. So, but that's it.
Thank you for all the work.
Thank
Well,
you.
before he, can you discuss the CDL class, so that we can vote on it later?
Yes, so, I had a conversation with Dal Lambert, the, transportation, superintendent. He has now 2, licensed that can give a course that the federal government wants to have before you can even go take a test. The only difference is, it's still considered a B license, which is what you have to drive a dump truck. They will learn on a school permit, they just have to get, the passenger endorsement, which is 5 more questions. It's $2,800, and that gets you all your training ready and going. They give you the school bus, they'll take you out, take the test, and everything. So, they undercut the price from BOCES by quite a bit, over about $2,000. They were trying to help out the community and try to just make it a little bit easier and more friendly on people's pocketbooks to get this to the individuals.
Like I say, that replaces that
That is
$4,000.29 of the federal class.
the federal,
That, this is what it is.
yeah, so,
Good.
I think that Cody would thrive in it, especially with the people that, and I think it'd be a good program for Cody to get into, and I think Cody's gonna be around for a long time to come.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do we have to make a motion on that?
We'll
No, we'll do it a little later, it's just he has to leave.
Okay. Let me find my list here. Board's next meeting is June 20th. The library's still deciding whether they want to do a silent auction or not. Betterment has given us a lovely schedule, which I gave Jared the other day, so that's their schedule. They did a really good job on it, like everything they need is there. That's taken care of. Save the River was here on Sunday. There were 47 people, adults that, were here. A lot of them had their kids. They collected 400 pounds of junk in the village, which you probably saw in the truck.
thank you to the group. Between Save the River and the Community Improvement, group, they, between them and the community group putting the flowers around the village and picking up, thank you. It looks fabulous.
We had scuba divers here too. There are a couple of scuba divers that went down and pulled. I stood there watching, I was like, oh my God, what a mess underneath there. And there are 15 students that will get school credit for volunteering. Arts for Youth is done with their, school program, and they'll start the summer program after the 4th of July. And that's all I got. Amen.
Nothing.
Okay, we officially have our beach permit we have 3 lifeguards, so as long as it's not raining, we'll have the beach open starting, Saturday for, I don't know what we do during the week. Do we have limited hours? Or are we just, you know, we don't do all day, you know? So we'll work out a schedule when the 3 that we have can work and make it work. But barring rain, we'll be open this weekend. And, we have 6 dock attendants. We're going to have training tomorrow here in the office for them and give them paperwork and stuff at 3:30. We will have dock attendants this weekend, but we're not charging. We're just gonna have them down there to learn what to do and, you know, get used to it. We'll do the CDL. The other thing that, you know, I have been working on, with Gregor is the water withdrawal permit, between Gregor and Jim and the town. We've been doing this close to 4 years and we're almost done. And I talked to Brent Sweet today and he thought we could be done by the end of June, if not before. So,
I haven't heard back from the town of Alexandria's attorney on the last piece of the puzzle he's working on.
you will. But
Yeah, so he reached out to me, Jim,
Okay.
and, just went over what was needed, and sounds like he's gonna work with Fourth Coast, or St. Louis Engineering to get the information.
Okay.
all right, that's all I had.
What's up, Jared? I spoke with, Cape Vincent Correctional, and I met Friday with the outside sergeant, for the village, and we're set for June 26th for a week of, the community service inmates to come down, help clean up, the beach, tennis court, just areas around the village, and also, to sand and seal on the wood on the Riverwalk. So they'll be here the week of June 26th. They'll be gone for 2 weeks, and then they will be back in 2 weeks later for another week of community service. That'll be a big help for the village. That's all I have too. Lee, Tony.
Planning board met last Wednesday night. We had 2 site plan approvals. One was Mike Chavis's, conversion of the restaurant to apartments down on the water side. We got, comments back from the county, needed 39M review. Their only comment was that we provided enough parking spaces for that project, which there is. The second project was JP Marine and his sign. There was no comments back from the county on that one, and the board approved the sign permit application. They meet all the setbacks and height requirements, so on and so forth with it. So those are the highlights. We're having to move our comprehensive plan meeting because a couple of our members play golf on Wednesday night, so we're going to a Monday night meeting. I don't know whether it's going to be this coming Monday because of Juneteenth or what, but we're still working on it. Unless there's any questions.
Police report.
Both projects got approved.
Police department had 17 complaints, 0 arrests, 0 vehicle and traffic tickets issued, 1 warning, 0 parking tickets, 1 warning, 16 building checks, and submitted by Officer in Charge Joshua David. Old business, ready streetscape projects. Gregory.
Yeah, to answer Roger's question about the docks, we'll start with the Upper James Street docks. We had a progress meeting last week and talked about the schedule. I think everyone probably knows, except for maybe Dick, that the docks are being supplied by Maddie, and they're out in Montreal, Canada. And a few months ago, they notified the village that they had gone bankrupt. So there's another company that's operating their facility, which is called Unison. They had set a schedule for delivery back before Memorial Day. The intent was to have everything in place by Memorial Day. And they've missed a couple of dates so far. But after the meeting last week, the progress meeting, these
village had a discussion with one of the, I'm not sure what it's titled, higher-ups in Unison, and they redirected labor to the Maddie Group factory so that the floaters can be completed, and based on what was provided for information and schedule, they're supposed to be here around the 21st, so next Wednesday, plus or minus a day. So right now, DC's getting ready and lining up everything needed to get those installed before the 4th of July weekend, so that they're usable. And the gangway, we've contacted a neighboring community to use a gangway for the weekend. And the gangway for the village should be completed shortly after, and that can be installed. But the temporary would get the village through the July 4th weekend, and quite frankly, get you through a week or two after that if needed. So right now it's scheduled. We obviously would like that to happen first before going to Plan B. Like the mayor mentioned, Plan B is using the existing floaters that were purchased back in 17 or 17. That would be Plan B, and they would be installed on a temporary basis, so that everyone can access the finger docks and have additional spaces for docking over the July 4th weekend. So ideally, we'll get those in time to have them installed before the July 4th weekend.
And if they're not here by Friday, we're going to go to Plan B, which is that following Monday,
Temporaries.
which is the 26th, wait, is that the 26th? Yes, the 26th, put the
26th.
temporaries in. So we'll be ready by the Friday before the 4th.
Yeah.
Hopefully
We
Thursday.
really, I mean, it's so frustrating for the village board, for us to look at the business people and say,
Right.
we're really trying, and it's
You
just,
know, I mean, this
it's
is something you guys could have controlled,
it's
and we understand
so
that. I will
frust-
say, we do see some negative effects. It's hard to quantify that, you know, because there's weather and all of those other
Yeah.
things, but, you know, it's a daytime business, for us, of course, and many of the people, yes, there's two sides to our business, right? There's what comes in on the cruise ships or the boats, and then there's what people come by their own boat, and we definitely see a drop off on that, and I understand. The one thing I would say though, do you know if the new floaters are the same length individually as the old floaters? You know, like for they're 20 footers we have now, I think. Are the new
The temporaries versus the new?
Yeah.
I think the news, I'd have to check, I think they're 40.
Are they longer? Okay.
They're
Because
longer.
the one thing I've said is that I'm really surprised that we're not putting in the anchorage at this point. If we know how long the new ones are, all that work could be done. And when these things come off a truck, they could be popped in. And, well, I mean, it's being done by barge anyway. It's not like you're walking out to the end of each dock and putting the next, you know, anchorage system down. I would say that if I had any input in this, it's like, why aren't we getting that done? So even if we get to the last day, even if it's the 29th of June and they finally show up, what are we gonna be out with a measuring tape, measuring to where those anchors are going? We should know, we know right now where they need to go. They're every 40 feet, and then we know the line. I mean, they build bridges.
It's getting-
Years in advance, they put the piling in for a bridge that isn't even, you know, the steel isn't even done yet.
So we talked to the contractor about
Yeah.
this exact conversation last week, and they were reluctant to install them, until they had the floaters in place, the new floaters. And I don't know exactly
Right,
all the
yeah.
reasons behind it, but we
Right.
did bring that up last week as a.
I'm just thinking, if it
option.
takes an extra week to do that, we have a week, and it's this week or next week. Yeah.
when
But
you
again,
put,
I mean,
when
I'm
they
not
put
an
the
expert
floaters
by any
in, they're gonna be set, the floaters and the anchors and moving down through,
But they don't do it
Hey.
that way. They don't do it that way. They don't walk the anchor down to the end of the dock. They take it
no,
forward,
they're,
and they measure
they're too
40
big
feet
to,
off. Yeah,
I guarantee you, they're too big to carry.
right, exactly. Yeah.
But
Okay.
we do
But we
have
did
a,
bring that up, Roger.
Well, it's
Just
anyway,
wanted to
because
be clear.
the other thing I have to say about this, and I'm not gonna begrudge it, but I would be surprised if they even have the dock in place while they're there with the barge trying to line this thing up, because they're gonna damage that dock. So that's not how they're gonna do it. They're gonna I know the dock isn't gonna be there when they put the anchor in. It isn't. I mean, all they're going to know is the line, and you can do that with a string, I would think. I'll buy the string. I'll put the little marks on it every 40 feet, you know? All right, I just,
Either they'll be there or the old ones will be there. One way or the other, we'll have full docks for the
How
holiday
many
week.
of the temp floaters do we have?
I think there's 6 or 7 out there, and those are 30 footers, the ones out back.
it's kind of what made me think about it, because if we put in the temps, are we gonna anchor them or just gonna put, because that's another issue.
No, we have
Talk about
anchors
Yeah,
in
okay.
place for them.
Yeah.
Kate Vincent has offered us temp anchors.
Oh, wonderful, great.
So just the other, facilities, we talked about the wharf. Stopped there before the meeting, and there's definitely interest in using that, and, I explained that right now the schedule is to open that up for the weekend prior to July 4th. The big thing is grass is actually coming in very well. The DC's been watering it, and it looks like it's coming in very well.
Really well, yeah.
The other items that aren't complete yet include the lift and the railings. So if everything works out, those would be complete before it's opened also. If not, DC will do some additional barricades to make sure that no one's, trying to walk out on that, ramp, ridgeway, try to protect it so no one's getting hurt.
Right now, one of the biggest things is waiting on the glass for the lift.
Correct.
And it's been almost 4 weeks now waiting for the delivery of the glass, for it to be assembled, correct?
So ideally, that would line up and they could have that complete too and everything ready to go. Otherwise, they will have it ready to open. And the grass should be in pretty good shape by then.
And then once we get the primary right now that we believe is get the upper James Street dock completed and then assemble and install the lower James Street. It's important to the village, but the upper is much more important.
Especially if we can connect to the other fingers, because
Yes,
you get much more
yes.
bang for the buck that way, yeah.
What else with the?
Just the water treatment plant, pretty much everything's done at the water treatment plant, they completed the paving. There may be some small punch list items, but for the most part, everything is complete.
And the streetscape project is complete minus a few punch lists. The only thing that really needs is blacktopping around the edge of the ramp and the drive at the Otter Creek ramp. That's gonna have to be later for the water to recede and, the aqua to finish it up. Other than that, I think the only other thing is he needs to take the end of that dock and straighten it up, cause there's a little hook in it, but other than that, streetscape is better than 90% completed.
So once that is done, what agency comes in and does the final inspection and says it's fine so that funds can be released?
For which
Streetscape.
I'm not sure, I haven't been involved with that one.
That should be Department of State.
Yeah,
That's who the
might
grant
be.
was through.
Okay.
That would be Irene Holick.
Okay.
So that's looking, streetscape, all projects has really made the village look fabulous, especially the comments on the wharf. The wharf is unbelievable. And not to say the upper dock of what has been completed, people are amazed at how nice it really looks.
Yeah, the gazebo's complete now
Yeah.
too on the dock, I didn't mention that.
I spoke with Cliff today, they're looking to pull out the Verde, some of the other equipment, and maybe storing the Versa handler down the barn, just clean that parking lot up. Get that
Yeah,
stuff out
they
of there.
told me the other day that Friday, all of that would be gone for, the activities, because we have, not this weekend, but next weekend, started on Thursday, the River Run for the motorcycle.
And the electrician is planning to be on site Friday. I know having the Wi-Fi in place is critical.
question, yeah.
That's critical. They're planning to be around Friday, so Tim's gonna do what he can, either Friday or first part of next week, have that, Wi-Fi ready.
The Wi-Fi, as soon as the Wi-Fi's ready and up and running, then we can notify US Customs with their iPad.
Right.
Because he's called me 3 or 4 times already. We good on that?
Yeah, I have some pay-ups, I noticed that's under new business, but I have, payment applications for DC Builders and S&L.
Okay. Oh, wait, we can handle it now. Yep. We'll take them off from new business, number 1 and 2.
Need to make motions.
I'll make a motion to pay up number 9 DC Building Systems, Inc.
Second.
Motion by trustee Palmer, second by trustee Demo to pay app number 9 for DC Builders. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And, motion for pay app number 4 for S&L.
So moved.
Motion by trustee Campany,
A second.
second trustee Demo. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That's carried.
Just gonna mention one other thing, it's not on the agenda, but, the CFA funding and WIA funding was announced. It's due at the end of July. I need to review the details of both funding programs to see if there's anything that's changed. But, I'll have more details for the July meeting. And the WIA, that's the program that you applied for last year for the wastewater project and also for the water project.
Okay, so that's where we got some of our water money, and we could do this now, this year, for the wastewater.
Correct.
Anything else?
No, I'm good with that.
Good. Number 2, pickleball courts. You got anything on?
I just leave it on there every time in case there's discussion.
So, we're ready to put the fence around. So we have people that are gonna come and give us a quote for fencing. And then we'll need it painted and they'll be ready to roll up there. So we're getting there.
Can I make a comment on this only because I called the mayor about this particular issue? There was, several people in the distillery last week and they were all, complaining about the pickleball courts not being done. So I called the mayor and I said, because they had brought up the fact that there had been money raised independently, and so I called the mayor and of course he set me straight and said that the money wasn't raised for the pickleball courts, there was some money that was raised for the tennis courts. So when I went back to the people who were all complaining about this, that was their complaint, is that there was money raised for the tennis courts and the pickleball people were still using it. So there is a furor going on in there because of that private money that was raised, and they're not getting access to the tennis courts.
I think even, and correct me if I'm wrong, but even after the new pickleball course is done, they will still continue to share tennis courts as pickleball courts, and we understand that private money was used, but it ends up belonging to everybody, and you can't say.
Yeah, I don't play either, so I
Yeah.
don't know the position in that, but, that is apparently the complaint, that, they don't play well together, I guess. would be the-
They're getting better. They are getting better and they're talking to each other now. And the issue is, you've got 25 people up there playing pickleball.
Yeah,
Nobody's playing tennis.
yeah.
There's not a soul, because I drive around there. I do probably go by there 5 times a day to see what's going on. And it's an issue within them. They've got to figure that out. The pickleball players have a schedule. They know when they're gonna be there. They have a little thing on Facebook. They all check in. The tennis players are there, hit and miss.
Mhm.
And they may have 2 people there. And there's not an issue. One of the issues is, and back in you're looking at the tennis court, on the right-hand side, there's moss that has grown because of the moisture, because it doesn't get dried out.
Shadier on that side.
Yep, so what Dave Peach has done, which he's done in Florida, there's a way to put carpet on 2x4s, the same size of where that messes, algae is what it really is. And you put it down there and you squeegee it off with the carpet. So that's one of their issues, is that corner back court is kind of messy, but he's got a way to fix that. So they are talking to each other. This weekend, we all talked to each other many times. And I'm sure they were down there talking, so, but they're trying to work it out.
I was in Ithaca the other week, and Cindy and I got some giggles. I took a video in Cass Park at the they have 4 tennis courts. And the tennis court on the end was a Ithaca Youth Bureau employee giving tennis lessons. Then there were 2 courts where there were people playing tennis, and then there was a court here where there were 2 pickleball nets and people were playing pickleball, and they all played nicely together. So it can, as Cindy said, she's working on it. Timing, and they just need to talk to each other.
And they maybe need to have, because it really works on Facebook. Wow, they've got, everybody's right on there, all the players are on there, all the pickleball players, so maybe the tennis players need to unite. And what I told them is, when I talked to Mr. Peaches, you guys need to come up with a schedule, just like they do, so you're not in each other's way, or if you want to be there at the same time, the pickleball players need to share with the tennis players. And they are right, they raised $40,000 a couple of years ago, and they did well. So my suggestion to the pickleball players on Saturday morning, we were out there with our measuring tapes, was you guys can raise some money too. I mean, if they could do it, you can do it. And the tennis players said they will help them raise money, so.
Yes.
So hopefully that all takes care of it. The other thing that I forgot when we were making motions before it, the golf course would like to add a horseshoe pit. And so I'm gonna make a motion that they add a horseshoe pit with, I've got the wrong paper, hang on. The horseshoe pit will be near the clubhouse and the area will be determined and provide a safe place for the horseshoe players. So that's my motion.
I second it.
Motion by trustee Demo, second by trustee Campany to allow a horseshoe pit at the golf course. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So we're good with pickle. Number 3, CDL class. We talked about that.
Okay, what we need now is, if anybody has questions, but it's all covered in the union contract, how it gets dealt with. If anybody, what would happen is, we have one young man now that would like to get a CDL license. He can take it at the school. The village pays for some of that training, and if he would leave us within 2 years, there's a payback plan in the union contract, and he would pay us back. And if he fails the course, he would have to pay us back. But as Jared said earlier, I don't know that this young man is going anywhere. He's, going to be a lifer here in the village. And he feels he wouldn't have any problem passing it. So what would happen is, we call the school, we say, yes, we'd like to do it. We get him signed up, he has to go get a permit. Jared will walk him through that process. They would bill the village, doesn't need, to be paid for up front. So I'd like to make a motion to allow, at this point, the only one that we have that wants to take the CDL course is Cody Escudero. So I'd like to make a motion that we allow him to do that.
Second.
Motion by trustee Fulmer, second by trustee Campany to allow Cody Escudero to do the CDL class at TCS. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
The additional thing is, the plus to doing it at the school is $2,800 versus $4,000 if you take it somewhere else. So it's the same course.
What are the hours of the training? Is it after work, during work?
Well,
Do you
that I
have
don't,
release time?
I
or-
think they have to talk to Jared, and they have to work it around when they need Cody or they don't, because, if we need him the week in front of the bike rally
Sure.
weekend, he can't be gone Thursday and Friday, so they'll work that
That'll
out.
work, no.
Yeah,
Good question.
thank you.
All right, it's a deal, class. Number 4 is Rotary Club. So, the Rotary Club, to Mayor Jarvis and village board members, the Rotary Club of Alexandria Bay requesting an agreement with the Village of Alexandria Bay for use of and development of the old chamber building site. We have been waiting for over 5 years for a grant for alterations and renovations of the building to be realized. It does not seem to be immediately forthcoming. As a result, we're looking to proceed down a slightly different path, focusing on the site. The rotary corner at the corner of Church and James Street has been used, maintained by our club for many years. Our use has been through the largest of the owner, and who now has rented the property to Caballero's Pizzeria. Results in the Rotary Club of Alexandria Bay needing an immediate relocate our presence and activities to a different downtown location. We're requesting that we be allowed to begin a plan for site improvements, development of the old chamber building site, to provide a downtown park and entrance to the Riverwalk. Total plan will require several years and some level of investment by the club, as well as other potential groups and grants. Initial site activities would begin with the relocation of existing games and benches, plus the addition of a small shed to the house to house the game pieces and related equipment, as well as landscaping. This could be accomplished through a combination of volunteer and contracted labor and materials. Included with this letter is a preliminary sketch showing long-term vision of the site. We understand that all successful planning requires communications, collective visions, and would welcome the village comments, recommendations as we move forward. Our initial request is to be allowed to start the process of improvements this spring, such as the existing games can be set up and ready for the beginning of the year. Respectfully submitted, Brian Willix, President of the Rotary Club Alexandria Bay.
So during the last meeting, Mayor, they approved moving all the things, but they did not approve anything to do with the grant that the village is still waiting for,
Yep.
or the improvements to the building.
No, the village has already approved moving the games and so forth to the, site. Once again,
But wait, what is this one?
They also in there, they want to not use the grant, but start making improvements to the building. Remember the discussion last meeting with them?
What kind of improvements?
well,
Painting and toilets and?
the initial,
Can I see that?
yeah. In February of 2018, the village with the Rotary Club was awarded what they call a SAM grant, a state and municipal grant, number 12913. This was achieved through Senator Patty Ritchie's office, and in the meantime, the majority of the state senate is the Democrats, and they are refusing to sign the disbursement form for this grant, not only to the village, the town of Alexandria, but any state senator who happens to be Republican. I've researched, and there's numerous Democrat state senators that have received SAM grants last year, and their projects have already been completed. So it's a game that's being played in the New York State Senate between Democrats and Republicans. We were awarded $100,000 to refurbish the inside for the front for a visitor center, and on the back side to redo the bathrooms very nicely through the Rotary for men and women's restrooms. The ramp has been done, the front entrance, it is, a little bit of work has been done through the streetscape project. It's, right now, it's on hold because the mess we're in with the state senate. I have called numerous people, and it's a game.
But as I read this,
There's nothing in that that says anything about bathrooms yet.
or the building, no, all
No.
they wanted to give us the layout of how, this is how they'd like the outside to look eventually. But they want approval to start, they want to put in the chess set and the,
They've
shuffleboard and the shed, that's what this is, not,
They've already contracted with the Blaine Newry to, put in the games. I know.
right, but they sent this in because they were concerned that they didn't
Yes,
think
I
they had
asked them,
approval.
they had approval to put the games here, but then they were started changing things, and I asked them to give us a new game plan of where the things are going.
Okay, so this
So this
is,
is
we're
the new-
approving the new plan.
The new plan.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve the Rotary new plan for replacement of games and benches and things like that. Did you see this? Do you want to? But I'll make
That's
that
the same
motion.
one we had the last meeting.
Pardon me?
I said that's the same plan we had the last meeting.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Yes. Fulmer?
Yes.
Thank you.
So motion by trustee Fulmer, second by trustee Demo to approve the placement of the games by the Rotary. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carried.
I have a suggestion. Maybe you should amend the grant to do like a used hypodermic needle drop-off location. There, you know, play their game. You know?
Another. I'll keep my mouth shut.
You should have seen the
How many
trash
do you need?
yesterday.
If you wanna keep one
Whoa.
copy, I'll take two if they're all set.
There's, here's two signed. Yep.
All of this and all.
Yes, for the Molly.
Yep.
So you got two and two?
Thanks, Carter.
Thank you.
Okay. So we're all set on payouts.
Thank you.
Anything else under old, thanks, Gregor.
Bye.
Anything else under old business? New business, we'll jump to number 3, Seeker Fort, EDFD edition. Love it. Haven't we already done part 1?
Yes.
You have to do part 2.
Attorney Burrows has them also, Mayor.
I know that at the last meeting of discussion with Seeker, that they used a short form, which is fine. Notification went out to the county, it was over a month ago, everything was fine. The next step would be take that hard environmental look, parts 2 and 3. I knew that Mark Reynolds was going to work on that. I don't know if he gave you the proposed document. What I did, though, I've taken a liberty of, I've got a proposed parts 2 and 3 for your consideration, recognizing it's your province, not mine. In a nutshell, what happens is there are 11 questions that you'd be looking at for the part 2, and the goal is whether this particular project of the small structure, whether it might have an adverse environmental impact. So you go through those 11 questions, and to decide whether it's no impact or minor or large, and then you go to part 3 afterward. But those are the actual documents you use. I don't know if Mr. Reynolds gave them to you or not.
Short environmental assessment form, part 2, impact assessment. Number 1, will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulations? No. Will the proposed action result in a change in the use of, or intensity of use of land? No. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? No. Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of critical environmental area? No. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway? No. Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy, and it fails to incorporate responsibility available energy, conservation, or renewable energy opportunities? No. Will the proposed action impact existing public-private water supplies? That's A, and B is public-private wastewater treatment utilities. No and no. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic archaeology, architectural, or aesthetic resources? No. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources? For example, wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, or fauna? No. Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? No. Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? No. That completes part 2. Part 3, determination of significance.
And so what I did there was I thought that the board might go the route that you did, so I just put together a simple explanation. The first paragraph is by the DEC that just says what this is. The second paragraph was a description that I put there that the board might consider adopting. And if you do that, then the balance of part 3 would be a negative declaration.
Check this box if you have determined based on the information analysis above, and it may supporting documentation that the proposed action will result in one or more potentially large or significant adverse impacts. An environmental impact statement is required.
And so what I had thought was, so in private sector, you just go forward and build structures if you want, you get the permits, et cetera. With municipalities, the state says no, before you can do something, if you can fund, approve, or undertake an action, you've got to take this hard environmental look, which is what part 1 does. Part 2 is the determination of significance, and part 3 then is kind of the culmination of it. And I just suggested the language as follows. I thought Mark might prepare it, but if he's not here, what I've done in abundance of caution is say, the project consists of construction of a 31-foot by 15-foot structure to house a historic fire vehicle on lawn area adjacent to village offices and parking lot. Best construction practices will be employed, and anticipated negative environmental impacts are expected to be negligible. Accordingly, a negative environmental impact is hereby issued. I just shot from the hip on that.
Do we need a motion to
So
approve this?
if you're comfortable, what you would do is entertain a motion to issue a negative declaration for purposes of seeker.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to
Issue a negative
environmental
declaration for
declaration.
purposes of seeker with this project.
What he said.
Second.
Motion by trustee Fulmer, second by trustee Campany, to make a negative declaration.
Yes.
The seeker.
Trustee Fulmer.
Yes.
Mayor Jarvis.
Yes.
Trustee Campbell.
Yes.
And trustee Demo.
Yep.
And so then, Mayor, you'd be signing the lower left-hand portion of the page on the part 3, and then it would be filed with the village clerk. And then you can go forward with the next step of the project.
You know, can you tell me what
I think that's where
One
this contract is.
that's next, yeah. Okay. You have the contract right there with the federal holidays. For the mayor to read.
Yes.
Would you let her read them out there? Thank you.
So we're good on the seeker now?
Yes, sir.
Number 4 is resolution federal holidays.
Okay, I have that. With our CSEA contract, because we added additional holidays starting in, 2024, and then another one in 2025, we have to pass a resolution acknowledging that Martin Luther King Day will be added as a holiday in '24, and Juneteenth will be added as a legal holiday, in 2025. So I'd like to make a motion that, we do that those 2 days be added as new holidays for village employees.
I second.
Motion by trustee Fulmer, second by trustee Campbell to approve the federal holidays. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And the only reason we did that is because when I was researching all of this and doing it, because we don't have those holidays already, we had to officially approve having those holidays.
The only reason I asked to approve the pay raises, I know we did the contract last time. I have to show in my minutes for human resources that per the contract and per the annual raises that we give every year, that it is posted in my minutes. That's why I have to send copies to human resources every year when we do that, first of June, that's why.
But didn't we do that in April?
You did the contract, but we didn't, other employees got 50 raises.
They all, it all.
Okay.
All employees got raises.
So motion to approve all the pay raises per the
Yes.
contract.
Thank you.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
We keep human
Motion
resources
by
very
trustee
high.
Palmer, second by trustee Demo to approve all the pay raises. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carried. Number 6, trash cans, private businesses. I spoke last night with the chamber about the assistance with the trash cans downtown, and they were sending out notices to the rest of their businesses, and everybody was very receptive to helping us with it. We do have a summer worker from noon to 8, sometimes 1 to 9, depending on activities downtown. And after they leave, he leaves. It can build up, and everybody was receptive. We do put extra bags in the trash cans. We do have 15 new trash cans that we need to get. I will see if I can help get them out this week. They're a lot different. They're a lot nicer, more visually pleasant than the current. I'm sorry, but I'm saying it. So we'll get them out this week, and they're a double basket in each one.
And I can confirm that we all got that email today, so the chamber did follow through on that.
Excellent. It went off very well with that.
Is any of it set up for recycling, for cans and bottles, the garbage cans, or, when you say double, is one side for recycling and one for trash, or?
I think they are. One is
Okay.
trash.
We can label
Just curious.
it. We can label it, but it all depends on
I get that. But
the
it
person throwing them.
makes me happy.
Yes.
And the cigarette receptacles should be going out this week too. I know
Yep.
they were getting them ready to go.
They didn't realize that the new cigarette containers were at the old chamber building, and the blue tarp that was over a
Right.
pile, that was the sand for
Right.
the cigarette.
They picked them, so I sent them directions, so. Oh, well.
Number 7 is St. Lawrence Engineering for DPC agreement. This St. Lawrence Engineering is for the addition and renovations with the fire department. Through Mr. Mark Reynolds and Rob Campany of St. Lawrence Engineering,
before, I don't, Cindy, have you seen this before? Oh, yes, yes, okay. Have you,
No, but I've heard of it.
okay, so
Talking with
pretty much,
Mark.
we just need to approve this officially, so we have it.
The project is for the addition in the front for the Aaron spots, which is now 101 years old, and putting in an overhead door section in the back corner where it's a
No
solid
picture of
wall.
the new trustee, Pam? Come on, front page.
I'll take one and send it to you. Oh, geez, I'll text it to you.
Circulation will be up this week.
The ladies will
So
like
you've
your
heard of it.
autograph.
Sorry, Mayor.
That's
I've read through it, we saw it before.
And I've talked with Mark about it.
Okay, so
The only question is they do have a clause in there about us if we have late payments. We're very diligent about paying our payments, and we usually are taxes are exempt from late payments. That's one of the only concerns that they have in there, that I have in there.
Yeah, paragraph number 9.
Person.
So do you want us to vote on it and approve it based on number 9 not being there? Or not approving not including paragraph 9?
Excluding the late
Excluding.
fees.
Excluding that last, I think
Yeah.
the last sentence.
The last sentence in it.
You know, so quick background, I mean, I saw this, looked at it, and as you know, the village is not required to go through General Municipal Law 103, where you're looking for competitive or sealed bids, professional services. You can select whomever you wish. This type of contractors, and St. Lawrence Engineering, they do a lot of work in the North Country, do a really good job. This type of an agreement is fairly typical, nothing unusual about it, so I can say I approve it as the form. The only concern would be the paragraph number 9. Yeah, the village is diligent in paying the bills, and you pay within 30 days, but it does have a late payment penalty of 12% a month, and that's actually wrong, 12% per annum. But that provision, normally that provision is not adopted with the engineers and villages. So it's your province, but my recommendation would be consider approving it with that sentence on the penalty being removed. That would be the only recommendation.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the St. Lawrence Engineering DPC agreement with it including the exclusion of number 9, the very last sentence. Finance charges will
Second.
not be paid.
So motion made by trustee Palmer, second by trustee Campany, to approve St. Lawrence Engineering Agreement minus paragraph number 9, the last sentence on the finance charges for past due amounts. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 8. Hire Mike Waltz at $15.50 for golf course rec assistant by Richard Howard, $15 for golf course clubhouse rec assistant Megan Gagnon, and Tim Morris, $14.20 as stock attendants. Lance Escudero as DPW seasonal laborer, $20.22 per hour. Joe Hollis, parking meter attendant, $14.20 per hour. Kaylee Johnson and Tracy Malinsky at $16 per hour as lifeguards. Sarah Bright is part-time clerk at $15 per hour.
I hope I got them all.
It is, and it's, under lifeguards, the second to the last sentence, it's Trace, Trace.
Not Tracy.
Not Tracy,
Okay.
the guy.
Trace.
I'll make a motion to hire all of those people.
I'll second it.
Motion by trustee Palmer, second by trustee Demo, to make the hires for the summer. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And we talked about the water.
Yeah, but we're not ready to sign
Yep.
anything he has here yet, correct?
No, those are just the ones that we had for the last meeting. I left them in there as a reference in case we had any questions or concerns. So,
Anything else?
I have nothing else.
Public concern, Cindy?
Cindy, this is your chance.
The big public here. Woo.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
PM.
Cindy,
Homer.
did you?
Yeah, me.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
9:06.
Good night.
Good night.
Thanks for coming.
I'm gonna give you this back to your